Hey everybody, welcome to Guess What? It's Gluten Free. Today we're going to be making some exciting fall treats. We're going to be making a hot cider that is done in the slow cooker, so you can kind of leave it when you're having your fun fall festive holiday parties. And we're also going to be making a gluten-free pumpkin spice cake. So let's get started. So first we're going to start with the slow cooker. It's best to leave this on low, and you can decorate the outside of it if you want, make it super cute. And we're going to take 64 fluid ounces of just apple juice. You can use cider if you want. I kind of prefer to do all the flavorings myself because then you can kind of make it fun. You can also make this like an adult version, put maybe like a spiced rum in it. And we're going to add some bright notes with some fresh fruit, because the more it sits, the more the fruit will infuse the flavor of the apple juice. So we'll start with an apple, and you don't have to core it or anything because, again, this is just for flavor. You can put it as like a little garnish on top as you serve it. Do one, lay it out. I'll put this so you guys can kind of see it. See, doesn't that look super pretty already? Do an orange. And you want to make sure that the slices are kind of thin because you don't want to be getting a nice hot cup cider with some gigantic slice of fruit in it. If people would be like, what? This is more just to make it like super pretty and inviting. So I'm going to use like half the orange because this is a pretty big orange. We'll use a lemon. When you have a lemon, you want to give it a little squeeze, a little roll on the counter to get everything going. If you have a really stubborn lemon, you can always put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and then that should give you like a big burst of juice. So during the holidays, me and my family, we like to do a lot of different crafts every day. We do a lot of Halloween and Christmas time in November to get ready for it all. And this could be something really fun you could do with the kids to make maybe decorations to go on the outside of your crock pot. All right, so we're going to add about 2 cinnamon sticks. There we go. And we're going to add a little bit of ginger because it's going to add a little bit of bite. I'd say eyeball it. Maybe like a teaspoon. Okay. Whew. All right, let's give this a little mix. You can just use a regular spoon. Just get everybody hanging out together. All right. And this will go right into the slow cooker, and we'll revisit this later at the end of the show. So I'm going to turn it on low, set it, and forget it. So now, let me just clean up a little bit, scrape this off. We're going to move on to our cake. So our cake, we're going to get a dry bowl and a smaller bowl for the wet ingredients because it's easier to put your wet ingredients when they're already all incorporated together into the dry ingredients and then blend it that way. I find that it kind of makes more of a fuller body to baked goods, cakes, cookies, muffins, things like that. And it just, I don't know, it just makes a difference, especially with the eggs. If you kind of beat them beforehand, it just makes everything a little bit fluffier, a little bit lighter. So in here, in my little trusty sifter, I have 2½ cups of gluten-free flour. I have 2 tablespoons of pumpkin spice. And then I'm just going to add 2 cups of organic cane sugar. Looks like a lot. We'll give it a little zhuzh and then put the other cup in. I was so excited. My husband got me this sifter for my birthday. It was something that I always wanted because before that I used to always just use a fork to get everything going. And you'll see the difference, why it's so exciting to have after we get everything through. All right, here's the second cup of sugar. Okay. Here we go. I don't know if you can see that, but you see already, it's like already nice and fine. We're getting all the lumps and the bumps out. It just makes for a nice, smoother batter. So you don't have to fight with all those little, pockets of powder afterwards. All right, we are almost done. And I don't know about you guys, but Thanksgiving time for us is always a time when we like to kind of experiment with recipes. One year we did little stuffing poppers, and last year we did a turkey with like a lemon compound butter. So this year, guess what? It's going to be gluten-free pumpkin spice cake. That's what the experiment is now. All right, that sugar will just go through. See you later. Now your wet ingredients. So I went ahead and already did this. This recipe calls for 6 eggs. So I cracked 5. And I'll do the last one here. Cup of olive oil. You can use canola oil if you want. You use vegetable oil if you want. You could use butter if you want. I personally really like the fruity note that olive oil adds to cakes, goodies, especially pancakes. If you've never tried it, you should. It's delicious. And especially in this cake, it just gives it a lot of body. Okay. And in the same measuring cup, we're going to add some vanilla soy milk. You can use regular milk if you like. You could get a little crazy, maybe do like some flavored, cream or something like that. But I personally like the soy milk. And I'm just referencing my recipe because I was playing around with this for a while. So we're going to do 1 cup soy milk. Usually when I do a recipe like this, I like to play around until I know I have it just right. Because I don't like to make stuff that, and put it forward that I'm kind of iffy about. I like to make sure I know it's really good. All right, and then we just need a little vanilla extract. 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to eyeball it. This is how I do this. 1, 2. All right, it's going to get loud for a minute. Do a quick mix on low. Just to get all the eggs mixed together, broken up, and get some air into the egg whites. All right. Now, see? That's going to make it so much easier to mix into the dry ingredients. Now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to put my mixer in, put it on low, and start adding my wet. Do a quick multitask. Boop. All right. Now you can move it up to a medium speed. And this comes together pretty quickly. Since it is a pumpkin spice cake, you could get kind of crazy and put like orange food dye. You could do carrot powder. That will make your foods also orange. Maybe you could add some candied ginger. All right. We're good. Nice, smooth batter. All right, let me just eject this because we are going to use these again for our homemade buttercream frosting. So in the meantime, I have the oven set at 350 degrees. And I have my 2 buttered cake pans Woo! I need a cup of coffee. What's going on with my words? So I know they're nonstick, but I butter them anyway because I like to make sure that the cake's gonna pop right out. And then I always like to put it on a cookie sheet just in case it drips over the top, then it's not all over your oven and you don't have a ton of cleanup to do. So you're gonna take half the batter. 1. Half the batter in this one. And give it a scrape and make sure that you get everything out. Now this seems, it could be time consuming, but it is not. You do not believe how fast this is to make. Ooh, just got it all over my finger. All right. Let's give this is where it gets noisy. We're gonna bang it to get all the air bubbles out of it. See how all of these just rose to the top and popped? That's how you keep from getting that big hole in the middle of your cake. Like when you cut it, you don't have those little pockets. And we're gonna pop it into a 350-degree oven for 40 minutes or until, everybody's oven is a little bit different, until you poke it in the center and it comes out clean. All right. Give me a second to clean up here. And we're gonna move on to our buttercream frosting. So while I give those a rinse, just check this out. When the cake was done, I took it out and then I stacked it up and I cut around to kind of start to give it the shape of a pumpkin. And when we put the icing on, it's going to take that little shape where the pumpkin has like the bumps and the lumps. And then I took pieces that I cut a little hole, and made it the stem. So it's really easy. It doesn't have to be super complicated. I'm gonna bring this over. And this would really be good for any kind of year. Excuse my back too. I want to make sure that we have nice clean utensils. All right. Dry them up. This would be really good for any time of year. I know that the big joke, pumpkin spice-wise, is it's November, pumpkin spice is here. Or for some of us, October 1st, pumpkin spice is here. But really, this is good any time of year. All right, we will see that guy again in a little bit. So in a smaller bowl, I put 3 cups of confectioner sugar. And then we are going to add 1 stick of softened butter. It has to be softened or it's not going to incorporate right. Let me just push this off. All right. And then we're just going to mix this guy on low speed until it starts to come together. So something I learned about when I started making buttercream frosting, which is pretty recently, is that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong. And you'll see why. It doesn't look, and it's going to puff up, it doesn't look like it comes together at first. And then all of a sudden, it did. It kind of looked like when you have cookie mix. And just before the cookie comes together, it gets very crumbly. All right. And then we're gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon. You know how I do. And we're gonna add 1 to 2 tablespoons of cream. Start with 1 and see what happens. And if you need more, just add it as you go. And then we're also, because it's a pumpkin, we're going to add some red and some yellow food dye. Now, I am not a huge fan of food dye, but sometimes, you know, for certain circumstances you can use it. But I did learn that you can use carrot powder to dye your food the desired color of orange that you need. All right, a little bit of red. And I don't think it like, just try to get them around the same amount. You can always play around with it until you get the color you're looking for. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. See, it's coming together a little more. I'm going to add another tablespoon of cream. I'm going to raise the speed a little. Woo! All right, see how it's starting to get into the little grainy balls like when you do cookie mixes? Okay. I'm gonna add a little more cream, maybe 1 more tablespoon. And then it'll just be all of a sudden, poof, it'll come together. Here it goes. It's coming. Look at that. It's like a magic trick. It's so fast. I still can't believe it. Whoa. All right. We don't want to overwork it. Wasn't that so cool? The first time I saw that happen, I was like, wow. I thought I was making it wrong for the longest time. All right, so now we can start to frost our pumpkin. Let's see. So we're gonna grab one of these handy dandy spatulas. Now, if you want to get super fancy, you can do what they call a crumb coat. And a crumb coat is when you put a thin layer of icing on the cake and then you put it in the refrigerator. And it makes it get cold. And what it does is when you put the second layer of all the icing that you want on it, the crumbs don't get caught in the icing. And then it ends up really, really smooth and easy to work with. Okay, so excuse me 1 second, my awesome top. Let's start by putting a thin layer in the middle, because that'll be our center. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, we could have gone really nuts and did like a cool like pumpkin whipped cream in the center or something like that. But today, you know, we'll stick with this. And if you don't have a cake stand, I highly recommend it. It makes life so much easier. And when you make buttercream frosting, I recommend that you kind of make it a little bit ahead of time before your party, because you could put it in the fridge to like keep, I mean, obviously it's made out of butter. It would be really easy to do, but it just doesn't quite have the same body. All right, let's see if we can line these up. Here we go. Now we can put our big dollop. Here, I'm going to take a little stem out. We'll put him back in after. All right. And when you're frosting a cake, start at the top, start at the middle, and then drag your frosting out to the sides. If you need a little help, you can always dip it in a cup of water, and it kind of helps smooth it out and gets everything moving, you know, around where you want it to go. All right, let's do this side. I don't know about you guys, but the holidays are one of my favorite times of year, because it's just about getting together with like family and friends and, you know, just being silly and talking about, you know, good times and just making people happy and laughing. I really enjoy that about it. Right. Let's see here. Oh, I can smell the cider. It's getting closer to that time. All right. Let's pull a little more out. And if you guys have any holiday recipes that you really love and you would like to make gluten-free, please let me know. I'm always happy to try new things. Around Thanksgiving, I tried a new recipe for a kind of a Thanksgiving salad where it was like turkey and cranberries and, you know, croutons were the substitute for the stuffing, but like for us it would obviously be gluten-free croutons. And then instead of potatoes, you had chickpeas as like the, you know, the potato-ish treat. But I always like doing new recipes like that. So if you have anything, please feel free to email me at thetrellisefamily@gmail.com. Woo, a little bit of icing goes a long way. Look at this, we're almost done. All right. In the meantime, I'd love to get a cup of cider together to show you guys. Frost this cake a little bit over here. Then I'll show you how to make the ridges on a pumpkin too. All right. See, in any type of holes you have, that's the great part about making a pumpkin. It doesn't have to be perfect. So any type of lumps and bumps are great. All right, let's find our center again that had the little stem. We'll put it right there. Let's move that along. Okay. And this you don't have to ice. You could get cute and color it with some vines or something if you like. And put a little bit to stick them together. Right. A little more. And then we're done with this guy. All right. Thanks for coming, icing bowl. Now, these cool little tools. So this is what I'm going to use to make the ridges. It's a little cake tool that, you know, in like super fancy smoother cakes, you can go around and makes those beautiful ridges. But for the pumpkin, we're just going to drag it along. And it kind of makes that more rustic pumpkin look. For this guy, we want it to go all the way down. And for Halloween, like you can make a little jack-o'-lantern face on this with some black frosting if you wanted to. For, you know, if you wanted to too, you could even do like an ornament for Christmas time or something like that. All right, there's our little pumpkin guy. It's not perfect, could have used a little more icing, but it's pretty cute. All right, now in the meantime, let's get some cider. So grab a mug. Get this guy off of here. You want to ladle in some fruits along with your juice. Make sure you have all those little layers in there. Just use a ladle. We'll top with some whipped cream. Give a shake. You can make your whipped cream, you can store-bought it, whatever you want. It's all good. I don't recommend using whipped topping because it won't hold up to the heat of the cider. You can garnish with a cinnamon stick. Top with a little pumpkin spice. Woo! And there you go. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you try some cute little holiday, sweet treats at home. And yeah, I hope everybody has a good holiday. I'm gonna enjoy my cider now, and I'll see you guys around.